Welcome to Global Truth. This is your host, Dr. Nasir Baig. If you are an international student planning to study in the United States, or if you're already sitting in a dorm room in Boston or Austin, the ground beneath your feet just shifted. For over half a century, foreign students entering the US on an F1 or J1 visa enjoyed a policy known as duration of status, often recorded as DS on your I-95 arrival record. As long as you kept your grades up and stayed enrolled full-time, your visa status remained valid for as long as it took you to finish your degree. On July 17, 2026, the US Department of Homeland Security, DHS, published a final rule in the Federal Register titled Establishing a Fixed Time Period of Admission and an Extension of Stay Procedure for Non-Immigrant Academic Students, Exchange Visitors, and Representatives of Foreign Information Media. This officially brings the duration of status framework to an end. Starting September 15, 2026, all international students will be admitted on a strict, fixed clock capped at a maximum of 4 years. If your academic program takes longer than 4 years, such as a 5-year PhD or a dual degree, you will no longer be able to simply ask your university's international student officer to extend your I-20 form. Instead, you must file a formal extension of stay using Form I-539, direct with US Citizenship and Immigration Services, pay administrative fees, submit biometrics, and wait for federal adjudication. The new rule brings several other drastic shifts as well. The post-graduation grace period to depart the country, transfer schools, or apply for optional practical training drops from 60 days to just 30 days. Undergraduates are banned from changing majors or transferring schools during their first academic year, without rare exceptions from the student and exchange visitor program. Graduate students face even tighter controls. They're completely prohibited from switching majors or transferring institutions at any point during their program without explicit SEVP approval. Additionally, students who complete a degree after the effective date are barred from enrolling in another program at the same or a lower educational level, effectively ending the path of pursuing a second master's degree. Whereas English language training programs are capped at a cumulative maximum of 24 months. Furthermore, all F1 and J1 applicants face expanded social media vetting, requiring public social media profiles during security screening. And third country visa applications are restricted, meaning students must book interviews primarily in their home country of citizenship or residence. To understand how this rolls out, look at the key dates on the implementation timeline. On July 17, 2026, DHS officially published the final rule. The official effective date is September 15, 2026, at which point all new visa issuances and US border entries for F1 and J1 holders transition to a fixed admit until date on their I-94. For students currently in the United States before September 15, 2026, there is a transition period lasting through March 2027, where they retain duration of status provisionally while remaining inside the country. However, if a current student leaves the US and re-enters on or after September 15, 2026, they lose duration of status immediately and receive a fixed admit until date upon re-entry. Academic restrictions regarding major changes in school transfers apply to everyone starting from September 15th, regardless of travel. Finally, November 14th, 2030 marks the outer sunset cutoff date by which all remaining grandfathered F1 students must either complete their program or file Form I-539 for an extension of stay. Where did this rule come from? Why was it imposed, proposed, and are there any exceptions? The rule was finalized by DHS under executive administrative rulemaking. The government's stated rationale is that duration of status created open-ended stay records that made tracking foreign nationals difficult. DHS argued that fixed dates curb visa overstays, enhance national security, and ensure direct government oversight. However, the policy remains heavily debated. Higher education associations like NAFSA, university leaders, and economic think tanks like the Peterson Institute of International Economics have condemned the rule. They point out that international students contribute tens and billions of dollars to the US economy and drive key STEM innovation, warning that added federal bureaucracy will push global talent toward rival nations. Legal challenges from university coalitions are expected before the September deadline. If you're wondering whether European, British, or Western students receive special exemptions, the answer is no. The 4-year maximum cap applies uniformly to all F1 visa holders regardless of country of origin. If anything, specific non-Western groups face tighter targeted restrictions such as media visa caps for Chinese journalists being cut off from 240 days down to 90 days. When analyzing the practical impact, students fall into 3 main categories. Current students remaining in the US temporarily retain duration of status, but international travel acts as a trigger that converts them to a fixed date. Then, new applicants entering from September 15, 2026 face immediate fixed 4-year caps and must plan degrees tightly while budgeting time and money for federal extension applications. For applicants from Pakistan and South Asia, this rule creates a heavy 2-step hurdle. F1 visa refusal rates for Pakistani applicants have already been climbing past 70% in recent cycles due to rigorous embassy scrutiny over non-immigrant intent and funding. The new rule adds a second domestic hurdle. Even after securing a visa at the embassy in Islamabad or Karachi, staying beyond 4 years requires discretionary approval from USCIS, where any denial or delay leaves no 60-day safety cushion and can lead to immediate loss of legal status. With the US adding administrative friction, strict work restrictions, and high tuition costs, it is vital to assess how the US compares to alternative global study destinations across Europe, Asia, and Oceania. In the United States, tuition costs range from high to extreme, sitting between $30,000 to $70,000 or more per year, plus hundreds of dollars in SEVIS and extension fees. Off-campus work is strictly banned during the first year of undergraduate studies, with on-campus work capped at 20 hours per week during term time and up to 40 hours during breaks. Off-campus work later requires CPT or OPT authorization. Post-graduation work rights offer 1 year of OPT, extendable up to 3 years from STEM fields. But long-term employment requires employer sponsorship through the H-1B lottery. Compare this to Germany, where tuition at public universities is virtually free, charging only semester administrative fees of 250 to 400 euros or up to 3,000 euros per year depending on the state. Off-campus work is allowed up to 140 full days or 280 half days per year without a separate work permit, including full-time work during breaks. Graduates receive an 18-month job seeker visa that leads directly to an EU blue card or permanent residency. In the United Kingdom, covering England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, tuition is high, ranging from £15,000 to £35,000 or more per year. Students at degree level can work off-campus up to 20 hours per week during term time and full-time during official university holidays. Post-graduation, the graduate route visa offers 2 years of unsponsored work rights or 3 years for PhD holders. Scotland shares the same UK national work rights and post-graduation graduate route visa rules. But international students pay international tuition rates ranging from £14,000 to £32,000 per year without access to local Scottish funding bodies like SAAS, which cater to local residents only. Canada features moderate to high tuition between 20 to 45,000 Canadian dollars per year. Students are permitted to work up to 24 hours per week off campus during academic terms and full-time during scheduled breaks. Canada offers a post-graduation work permit for up to 3 years, paired with streamlined express entry points toward permanent residency. Turkey offers a low to moderate tuition ranging from $1,000 to $8,000 per year at public universities and $5,000 to $20,000 at private institutions. Work rights are restricted. Undergraduates cannot work off campus in first year, but can work up to 24 hours per week starting in year 2 with a Ministry of Labour permit. Masters and PhD students can work from day 1. Full-time work is allowed during holidays with a permit. And post-graduation short-term residence permits are available, requiring employer sponsorship to transition to a full work permit. Malaysia features low overall tuition between $3,000 to $9,000 per year, though international branch campuses like Monash or Nottingham charge around $10,000 to $15,000. Malaysia enforces stricter term time work bans than the US, prohibiting all off-campus work during active terms. Work is allowed only during official breaks longer than 7 days, capped at 20 hours per week in specific sectors like hotels and restaurants. Post-graduation work requires direct company sponsorship with no automatic post-study work visa. Japan offers low to moderate tuition fee, 500,000 and 1.5 million yens per year, roughly 3,500 to 10,000 US dollars. Students can work off campus up to 28 hours per week during semester terms after receiving a simple permit at immigration, and up to 40 hours per week during long breaks. Japan provides a designated activities visa for 1 or 2 years for post-graduation job hunting, with high job conversion rates due to local labor shortages. Looking at the expanded global picture yields clear takeaways. The US remains amongst the most restrictive regarding off-campus work for first-year undergraduates, though Malaysia is even stricter by banning term time work entirely. Both the US and Turkey restrict first-year undergraduate off-campus work, but Turkey allows graduate students to work immediately. For self-funded students seeking lower financial barriers, Japan, Germany, and Turkey offer vastly lower tuition entry points compared to the United States and the UK. If you're a student in South Asia or anywhere globally preparing to apply to US universities under this 2026 visa regime, here is the bottom line strategy. First, map your academic program realistically. If your degree takes longer than 4 years, build the Form I-5039 extension of stay process into your schedule early. Budget for federal filing fees and factor in processing delays well before your 4-year clock runs out. Second, lock in your major and institution early. Undergraduates cannot switch majors or transfer during their first year without federal permission, and graduate students cannot switch majors or transfer at any point in their program. Make sure you are completely committed to your chosen field before landing in the US. Third, ensure full compliance with digital vetting and financial documentation. Maintain clean public social media profiles, prepare clear answers demonstrating non-immigrant intent, and present airtight financial proof to satisfy both embassy officials during your visa interviews and USCIS adjudicators down the line. Best of luck. Thank you for your time. Take good care.